seconds and a minute. Down to the pointy end. Alright, minute. 3, 2, 1. 1 minute. Had to avoid a collision on the start. It's getting closed out. There's no room on the line. So I went downwind, lucky. There's a crash right where I was. So, right decision, but it took me 30 seconds to get to the line again. Everyone's upwind of me. Bunch of boats straight upwind with spinnakers and everything. Try and tack in front of them. Put Oz 766 off. Going upwind to him. Woo! So, while the sail's facing the wrong way, some tips on the start line. We're given a 5-minute warning, then a 4-minute bell. At about the 3-minute mark, what most people do is sail away from the boat for about 30 seconds on the foil, and then tack and stop and try and hold position exactly there, staying very stationary, waiting for the minute mark, and then when about 40 seconds to go, accelerate onto the foil and approach the line, trying to jostle for position. And what we noted was that the line was 20-25 seconds long, so if you were early you can sail down the line towards the pin end and then cross over on 0. running angle on the wave. Got this jibed above everybody. And on a wave. Oh yeah. Fast now, downwind. Not quite deep. Downwind, broad reach. Some waves. And swell lines. Not rhythmic. Not my rhythm. Anyway. Back foot's just in front of the back strap. And I mean inboard, but in line with the back strap. Go through the tail a bit. Alright, here comes the turn. Starboard back. Woo! Upwind now, I need to adjust. So, front foot, in the strap. Tap the water. Downfall. Alright. I think I'm being lapped. Not sure, probably. Alright. Focus. Shoot in. Don't shoot out. Right through the water. Try not to tap. Slows it down. Leave your hands back on the boom. Right a little higher on the top. Help slowly. Help down. Really use the back hand. So on the first lap, your ley lines are a little easier to find because you've headed off on starboard, then taken your own sweet time to tack onto port, and you can generally see the upwind mark fairly close. On the second lap, you've started the lap on port just around the bottom mark, and it's a long way if you do one tack, looking back over your shoulder, trying to find where the mark is, and this is quite often the hardest ley line to find. So a lot of people take it conservatively, sailing well past where they need to, but then this kind of compromises your starboard leg because you actually don't need to point as high as you can, and sometimes, especially in strong winds, it can be harder to sail less upwind than fully upwind at 45 degrees. So quite tricky on the ley lines. And the other thing is, if you're just shy of the ley line and tacked a little bit early, it may be beneficial to pump for a few hundred meters the foil and the sail and just struggle to make that top mark rather than do a double tack, which can generally be slow and often see people falling at that time. So yeah, good fun trying to find the right point to tack, watching everyone around you. You can generally spot a few sailors, and over time you'll know whether they go early or not. Alright, here we go, downwind now. When you turn downwind. too high, so turn the board sharp downwind. Changing your foil angle really takes height out of the board. Dig whichever rail you're on, so if you're going downwind, dig your downwind rail. If you're going upwind, dig your upwind rail. Kills height very quickly. And then immediately settle back. Comfortable stance. Level out. Alright, Justin's fighting for the mark. I'm in front barely. Upwind by 10 metres. Ah, we got someone turning on the mark. Justin's coming at me. Oh, pinched! Got nowhere to go! Ha ha! Go, son! 1, 2 seconds behind Justin. Foot in, yes! Out on this side. Better than last time. Last time we missed a lap. Big wave. You gotta find the sweet spot between upwind left from the foil mast, otherwise known as fin, and upwind left from cleaning the foil windward versus vertical lift, and all the drag associated with those different angles, slippages through the water. And the weed! Oh, that feels slow. Oh, because well, another gust. Oh, driving soon. Tack soon. When's the tack? Tacking at the same time as Justin. Easy way. So on the upwind leg in lighter winds, it's quite interesting. In the gust you get a big boost in angle, so you can generally sheet in, hold the gust and turn upwind a little bit into it. The apparent wind flowing over the sail gives you a bit more power, and it feels like you're actually pointing almost straight upwind, which is really good fun. But you do have to be careful. As soon as that gust finishes, what I've found is that power in the foil and the sail drops quite dramatically, and if you keep those same angles, you'll fall off the foil. The board will tap the water and you'll have one of those ugly nose down conditions. So what you need to watch for is the lull coming, and then turn downwind just as it hits so that you can maintain your board speed and hopefully ride height as well. Also, just after attack, you do need a bit of space to get up to speed and up on the wing again. So after attack, I generally find my board's almost stopped. So it does take me a few metres of not fully upwind to get the board back onto the foil and pointing upwind. If you happen to tack into a lull, you might find it really difficult to get back onto the foil, and then you can't maintain angle, and you could miss your top wind mark if you're very close. So things to consider when you're tacking is to make sure you've got enough wind to fly again, and if not, give yourself a little bit extra room, a few more metres, so that you can sail across the wind or even slightly downwind to get back on. Alright, downwinder. Instantly light out. As soon as you go 45 off the wind, sail gets so light. Now all the adjusters on the other side now, so I'm going to take it to forward lap of 3, into the line, there's the pin, sorry, drive, wind, it's coming close. Again, quick. Whoa, too high. Front foot now. Front foot in. Whoa. Okay. Now. Might have gone too early. Oh, fighting for the line. I need a gust. Oh, I tend to do that. Might have gone too far, too soon. Forward spins. Justin's powering past me. He's got more board speed, better angles. I'm too downwind. There's a gust. Too late, he's already over. Well done, Justin. Just make the pin by riding the swell. Oh, that was close. And there it is, the pin. Woo! 3 races. Right, so 3rd race, have a break. Beach, wave at the camera.